I mean, we better go 3-0.
All right, week 2 of the LEC just ended, and today I am in the presence of Peter Dunn, the coach of Team Heretics, after a very important win today. How are we feeling?
Yeah, I'm not too good. No, not too bad. Sorry. Like it's we've had a few sloppy games, but today we decided to pick like a comp that had a higher barrier of execution. And yeah, the guys pulled it off well. We've only had like 8 full days of scrim so far, the team. And the fact that we can pull off something like this is really promising moving forwards. I want to say to players, I think we're locked, but I'm not 100% sure. But hopefully we'll win at least one more game. In the last week.
I mean, I don't think you're theoretically like locked right now with 4-2, but it's pretty close to locked anyways. Like it's very rare to miss playoffs with 4-2. But yeah, this week you took a win against BDS, which was a pretty strong split, pretty strong team last split as well, and SK, which has been looking pretty decent. Unfortunately, a loss against G2 though. Do you have anything to say about these 2 other games as well?
No, just that, our goal this split is to just buy as much time as possible, right? Like, as a team, we know that we're starting very, very late relative to other teams as a group of 5. So every win we get is more scrims, more time, more time in the office, more time working with each other, more time building synergy. So yeah, so it's like I said, it's it's really promising that, even despite how far behind other teams we are in our prep, we can still pick more of the, we don't need to pick these ball team fighting comps. We can play the 1-3-1, right? And I think today, as coaching staff, we've seen it in scrims. We believe our players can do it, and I think today was an important day to show our players that they can do it as well, right? And yeah, so very happy with the result today, and hopefully we can keep it up through next week and through playoffs.
And I mean, when we had the roster announcements before week 1, when we had Zwyroo and Trimby being officially announced, we heard your manager say that the team was struggling a bit in the pre-split scrims. Do you think that the state of the team now is a bit better? What has improved since then, I think?
Yeah, I mean, I think our scrim win rate is actually pretty good. Like, Heretics, even last year, our scrim win rate was not very high at all. But I think we have a really high scrim win rate. It's not G2 level scrim win rate, but it's like pretty high level. But the games and scrims don't really matter as much as the team working on their own performance and working on kind of pushing themselves to, not picking champions from a position of, oh no, what happens if we fuck up? What's our backup plan? Because make no mistake, today you get behind against enemy comp today with our comp, like you're never winning the game, right? But just having confidence that we're not going to mess up, we're not going to make a mistake, we're not going to like be on the side lane in the wrong lane, or something like this. And I mean, you saw the SK game. We had a 5K goal lead, and we were in the side lane on the wrong lane, and we almost lost. But we have to be able to play these things if we want to be like serious about being competitive in Europe. You can't just sit around and let the other team beat you. So yeah, so happy that with the progress of the team so far.
And I mean, it's an interesting position because actually in the winter split at the end of the week 2, you were also in 4-2 score, same as right now. But then you ended up going 4-5 at the end, and playoffs obviously didn't go as planned. What do you think the team is doing differently this split so you don't reach the same end result?
Yeah, so I think basically our 4-2 last split was a kind of a bit fake 4-2, and this 4-2 is a bit of a fake 4-2, right? Because the strength of the schedule last split was really, really uh, some of the weaker teams in the LEC, the community perceived weaker teams in the LEC were played at the start of the split, whereas this split, it's some of the teams that people perceive are weaker, we play in week 3, right? So this is more like a fake 4-2, but it's a 4-2 because when we played every team that went to Worlds last year from EU, right? Yeah. So, oh no, not mad, obviously, right? But like we played 3 of the 4 top teams, and we played G2, we played Fnatic, we played decently into those teams. Even the G2 game which we lost, we played well for like the first 12 minutes. Jankos had an incredible game. Then we kind of made one mistake too many. But yeah, I think that it should be really obvious from just watching our level of play. This is a much more proactive team. we're not like scaling the game out. Like I think in winter we were just like scaling games. We were playing really really slow. Maybe we're playing a little bit too fast, judging by the SK game. But we're playing faster, we're playing more confident. One thing that Arta has is, you know, as a rookie, you always respect people, but you always like you don't know enough that you should be afraid. So you're like you have a bit of that confidence. Sometimes it gets him in trouble, but he's never afraid. He's never afraid to make a play on the map. He's never afraid to take a losing matchup. He's never, and this kind of, I don't want to say youthful enthusiasm. He's what, like 25, but like this new enthusiasm, and yeah, yeah. And like everything is new, everything is exciting, and Trimby adds a lot of shot calling. He is a very aggressive player, and I think he's a good mix for Jankos. Because I think one thing about Jankos is he's capable of providing like the overarching structure, but he's at his best when he can recognize those snap opportunities, right? Um, but there's very few shot callers in Europe who are capable of providing like the overall structure. So he's okay doing it. Like he's not bad. He's serviceable, but he's not like insane if he has to do that. And I think this is what Trimby gives him, right? Like Trimby provides a structure, and then that gives Jankos the opportunity to go for his Lee Sin, like the thing he did on against Fnatic, the Lee Sin kicks and things like this, right? He doesn't need to think about providing the structure because he gets to go snap go. So I think this iteration of Heretics definitely lets Jankos play to his strengths. Also lets Wonder plays to his strengths as well, right? Like the way that Wonder wants to play the game is very, very fast, high tempo style of game. And that's definitely how Zwyroo Arthur wants to play the game as well.
Another question I had for you as well was regarding the coaching staff of Heretics, because I think one thing we've seen in recent time was the popularization of expo players becoming coaches as well. And we saw in Heretics that you guys welcomed Kirei as an assistant coach for you guys this year. How do you guys spread the tasks between each other?
So basically, we have like how should I say this? We did an interview process. We interviewed 140, I think 148 people. I personally interviewed about 90, 95. Aaron Ayer, our GM, interviewed some. Rob, who was our performance coach, interviewed some, and it was a very very in-depth process. It took more than a month. Like permanently, 6 interviews a day for like 30 days. Um, I'm very happy with Kirei. I think he's doing a really good job. Fans like to joke a lot about drafting. After last split, I've stepped back from drafting responsibilities. I lead scrims and things like this, but Kirei is the one who's really setting up our drafts. So, our drafts have improved this split. So, good job, Kirei. He's doing a really good job there.
Do you think he's able to provide more of a in-game perspective as well? Because I don't know if you play the game yourself as well.
So I don't play the game. But I think that it's about a mixture of responsibilities, right? So we all have different specific skill sets and different people that we work with in the team. I think my approach, I've been very vocal about this. My approach towards a player, I don't play the game, right? So, but I watch a huge amount of VODs. So, when I'm working with a mid laner, I'm not going and saying, you must do this. I'm saying, Rookie does this, Faker does this, Knight does this. This is how they play this specific matchup. I think Knight's approach is best, for instance. But let's have a talk and let's see what we can incorporate from each of these, right? So that's kind of my approach. There's disadvantages to this approach, obviously, right? Like it takes time for me to adjust coaching between roles because I have to catch up with my VODs and things like this. But the it's also like when new champions come into the meta, I think maybe that's a weakness as well because you're not playing with them in solo queue. But I think that over the course of my career, I've position coached like every position in the game. So I don't think it's really about whether you've been an ex-pro player or whether you've not been an ex-pro player. I think it's more about ability to be flexible, ability to put in hard work. Kirei isn't like just coaching Jankos all of the time. Sometimes he's working with bot lane. Sometimes he's working with Wonder. Lopon is mainly working with Wonder. With Zwyroo a lot because they know each other from the academy setup. They have a really good relationship. So yeah, different people have different kind of responsibilities within the team, and I think that you don't have to be an ex-pro player to have knowledge of how to coach the game, but it definitely helps, right? And if you're if you're not an ex-pro player, the thing that I'm going to question you most about in interview is your game knowledge. And if you are an ex-pro player, the thing I'm going to interview you the hardest on is your coaching philosophy, your self-improvement mechanisms, these kind of things, right? Your ability to coach, right? Because the game knowledge is assumed. So yeah, so I think that's just kind of the approach. But game knowledge that you have from season 6 is not really applicable in modern day, so you have to adapt, right? And adaptation is important.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I just have to cut you short because I've been told we have to wrap it up. Just very quickly, in a few words, MDK, KC, JX next week, 3-0 or?
I mean, we better go 3-0 like Wonder went on Euphoria and said all those things about Mad Lions. So we better back him up, or else there's going to be drama. But yeah, looking forward to the game. Always really. Obviously, Mad Lions is the big one. It's a Spanish org, but also like Merwin. I love to play against Merwin. I work with him in Iberia Cup. He's a fantastic guy. Wish him all the best, and yeah, we'll definitely have. He has his cheese picks, but Wonder was the original cheese pick person in Europe, so expect some, expect some Stilton. Yeah, expect some Stilton this next week against Mad Lions. It will be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, it should be a banger.
Fingers crossed. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. I hope that you have a great rest with the guys and prepare well for week 3, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again soon.
See you.